Are we silent? Anybody
Oh, apparently we're silent, so you guys can't
yeah.
hear when I say all these words that I'm saying right now.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, we
now we're
good.
good. Look at
Well,
that.
they heard you, Joe, and
They
so
did.
now I guess unfortunately you were wrong.
It's how, you just got to say the right thing,
Yeah.
and then the audio just starts. That's
Yeah,
how
you
it
gotta
works.
say you just have to get to that moment where you're going to be wrong, and then all of a sudden audio will work so that everybody can hear you being wrong. That's
Yes.
the way that's
Right.
the way it works in
Right.
most things. Sakura says that's true. Yeah, we've
It
all been
is.
there. Yeah, it's like when you're doing something and everything's okay, and like that one moment you do something wrong, everybody's looking. Yeah.
Yep.
It's when you need to be humbled. You're like, man, I'm doing so good, and then you mess up and everybody sees it. Yeah, it's because the world was like, yo, you got to be humbled. You gotta make sure you don't think you're the best and stuff. So
That's right.
yeah. Yeah, anyways, hey everybody, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where we don't worry about when we're wrong, and we just continue on shrugging on in life and making things happen. Now this is the show where we talk about whatever issues you might be having, or you know maybe your friends are having, or your dog's having. We just are here to talk about it. A lot of times, what to do in those situations, those scenarios you're going through, but it helps to have a friend to just talk about it with. Sometimes we can help give some pointers or some different perspectives of everybody involved. But yeah, most of the time, I think you know what to do, and we're here to inspire you and to encourage you on your way.
Yes. Through
Also,
your scenario.
scenario, yes, your yeah, I think that one works the best. Sinitchery. I don't. Scenariation. I think that one's pretty good.
That's pretty good too.
Scenariation. So yeah, we're not professionals, especially not in the English language, and we hope to hope that if things come to this point, you can not feel embarrassed or anything to seek out professional help. But meanwhile, we're here to give some friendly advice, if so needed. Hey, also, welcome back, everybody. I know it's been like 2 weeks since we've done one of these, so
Yeah.
I'm glad to
3 weeks
see people
even,
are.
because we had 2 weeks off, so that makes it 3.
Oh, it's 3 weeks. Yeah, that's correct. We had 2 weeks of not doing it. This third
Yes.
week, okay, yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yes.
So thanks for joining. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad we're here. It's good to be back. That was a long vacation.
It
Um,
was.
I was kind of missing the show, so it's good to be back here. Sorry we're a little bit late. That was my fault. I didn't realize today was a Wednesday um, until I got the phone call.
Yeah,
So
poor Ryan. Well, until you heard the phone call.
yeah,
Poor
I didn't say I picked
Ryan.
up.
It was funny. We were talking. Ryan doesn't know I'm going to say this, but I'm gonna.
Go for it.
Um, when we were trying to figure out how to get in touch with Ryan, because we were waiting to see if he was going to come and everything. You get on the stream, and Jesse and I were talking. I'm like, man, what's that got to be like to have that lifestyle where not only do you have to not care what time it is, but you don't have to care what day it is. Like,
Terry thought it was a Tuesday as well, so at least I'm not the only one.
wow,
Happy New
that's
Year.
amazing.
Hey, bro. Nice to see you.
Oh, and it's Thursday now for Akil.
Yep. That's great.
Sparrow, sorry you're a
Hey,
bit late. We're
Sparrow. No,
sorry.
you're not.
We're
We're just getting
we're
started.
just closing it down.
Oh no. Jeez. Oh man, you're so late. We are yeah, we started this like 3 hours ago. No. Stay for 30 minutes. Cool. Well, I guess let's get into it then. Sparrow
Mhm.
has one. If you're only here for 30 minutes, we probably should just do that one right out the gate. What do you say?
That sounds good.
Okay. Let's check it out. Sparrow, you
Yeah.
down for that? This is from Sparrow, and its title is "What Can I Do?"
And I'm gonna post a link
It's science.
because hey,
Oh yeah,
because Jesse is our producer,
Jesse,
And
thank you for being here always. You're awesome.
yes, he's amazing. And normally Princess Yellow is our chat room hostess, and she is not here at the moment. She may not be able to make it, but we will see. So in the meantime, we're gonna do our best to interact with you guys in the chat as well. So you guys are awesome.
Oh, that's awesome, Ro. I hope you do get to see Amory. Amory's so much fun. She briefly messaged me earlier today. She's like, "Yo, where's my money?" But anyways, she's so fun. And I was like, "Yo, where those Japanese lyrics, girl?" But no, honestly, she's a blast to be around. She's such a fluffy, just bubble of joy. So I really do hope you get to meet up with her. She's so cool. Anyways, this is from Sparrow. It reads, "What can I do?" Or sorry, the title is "What Can I Do?" and it reads as follows. Sparrow is here. Break is now coming to a close. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's not the point. I really want writing to be a thing I can do without issue, but it feels like I can't do it. What can I do? Sparrow is still here, gone. Sparrow is gone, but still here is in brackets, or sorry, parentheses. But yeah, so you said, I really want writing to be a thing that you can do without issue, but it feels like you can't do it. So I guess my immediate question would be, what is it that's getting in the way? Is it just time constraints, or is it like a mental block, or is it a beyond a beyond mental block and just lack of motivation, inspiration, or yeah, there's all sorts of different things, and more than what I just said. So yeah, what kind of things are getting in the way? Also, thanks for posting this, and we hope that we can help you because writing is such a beautiful thing that we have in this world, and so much is passed on through writing. So much is gained from reading and from writing. It is one of the most important things in our world today, and has been for thousands of years. So I hope that we can encourage you to do so, do that, and help find that way, the roadmap to getting that in your time, that block separated out from your time schedule, so you can actually maybe pursue that. But anyways, I'm gonna let Joe do some talking here because he's gonna have some good knowledge of this area, about making sure things get done. So
Oh boy, I don't know about that. If you see my example, I usually am just, I feel like I'm running around crazy, like, and stuff just happens to get done once in a while.
okay.
But um but that's just because things get busy from time to time. But there is a way, like when you're busy and you have a busy schedule, you have to learn how to um schedule your time, and actually be like, okay, I have to make time for this important thing, or else it's just not going to happen,
Right. And by
because
the
there's
way,
too many
Sparrow
things that
does
get in
say
the way.
that it's mostly a lack of inspiration. So
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, that's a really good thing, because that was going to be my question. So if you could be specific about some of the issues that you're talking about, that are getting in the way. But if inspiration is one of the things that's holding you up, there are a few things you can do. Inspiration and action go hand in hand. They really do. So, but a lot of times, man, for the longest time of my life, I thought that meant I had to get inspired in order to take action, or I had to get inspired in order to create something, or it just happened. It had to be that way. Like I was always looking for some kind of inspiration. So I'd go and I'd sit at the beach, and I'd sit there for a long time, and basically do nothing but watch the beach. Like what, and be like, I'm gonna get some inspiration here. Or something I'd just go and I'd sit at the river. It always had to do with water. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just I really like water.
He'd go into his kitchen and turn the faucet on.
So I'm gonna get
He
inspired.
would stare into the toilet. Oh no.
I'd usually, I'd go to the river, or I'd go to the
Yeah.
beach, or I'd go and I'd hang
Somewhere
out
that's
there.
beautiful, that inspires beauty.
Yep. And I always thought it was water, and so then I moved. Then when I moved back toward the city, I'd sit at the river across from the power plant, and like, but that wasn't doing it either. But
Nice. Yeah, that's
because it's just
that
big
water's so bad.
smokestacks and factory smoke, and but there's the river, and it's brown right there.
It actually is.
Yes. But hey, Princess is here. Hi, Princess.
Hey, welcome.
So anyway, to get back to the topic, I thought I would have to be inspired in order to take action. And the thing was, I was totally misguided. And maybe you guys have been taught that too. Like, if you want to do something, you have to be inspired to do it. And so we're always looking for inspiration. But really, inspiration and action go hand in hand, which means you can take action and inspiration comes along with it. So however you write, if you write by hand, then what I would encourage you to do, if you're having trouble finding inspiration, is just sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and start just doodling. Start moving, take the action of moving the pen on the paper, even if you're not writing any words. Just start doing that. And that action will then start to bring about inspiration to write. If you write at your computer, then maybe just sit down and just start typing keys, whatever. Just start taking that action. And, so like open up a blank document and then just start writing words. They don't even have to be, they don't have to be coherent at this point, because the whole idea is you start taking the action, and then the action gives birth to the inspiration, if that makes sense. So I learned this firsthand with writing a little bit, because I was studying lyric writing and how to write better lyrics. And what I learned was, one of the things you can do, an exercise you can do, is to just write, just basically vomit words. if that's a term I could use. Sorry, that's kind of crude, but you basically, he gives you a word to start with, or an idea to start with, and he says, just start writing descriptive, like feeling words, that sensory words that talk about senses, and just go wherever your mind goes. Let your mind just go, but try and keep it sensory, like you're keeping it all the five senses: touch, taste, feel, or wait, touch is feel, touch, taste, sight, sound, smell, stuff like that. And so you start with this idea, and it could be puddle, and so then you're talking about cold, wet, the feeling on a rainy day. I have my yellow boots, and my boots came from a factory, and the factory was by the river, and the water was brown. And so you just kind of just go, you take whatever tangent your mind's gonna go in, and that there starts to bring about inspiration, because what it does is it just programs you. You're just starting to do it, and then from there the inspiration comes. I had that also happen in music, where I would set a timer for 30 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to play my guitar for 30 minutes. And I'm going to do this once a week or twice a week, or however many days a week it was. I'm just going to sit down with my guitar for 30 minutes. I'm going to set a timer. When that timer goes off, I'm done. That was another thing with this writing exercise. Or like, you set a timer for 10 minutes. And when 10 minutes is up, you're done. You put the pencil down or the pen down or whatever. And that's it. So then it's easy to schedule that little block of time. And you know it's going to be done. And then when I sat down with my guitar for that 30-minute time period, I would just start playing. I would play something that I had written before. I'd played something that I had learned that I from another person, you know, a cover song or something. I'd just start playing stuff, or I'd just start noodling around. I'd pick up the guitar and I'd just start playing a scale
Did you?
or just chord progression. Sorry, Ryan, what?
I'm sorry. You said you just start noodling around,
Yeah, noodling.
and I love that phrase. But I'm sorry to interrupt. All I can imagine is you taking noodles on your guitar, and I'm like, that's a weird image.
Yep. That's what I call just goofing off, I guess.
That's
But
great. I like it.
yeah. So, but that's what I would do. And from that, just taking that 30-minute time, I think in like I think in about a month, I had the basic ideas and structures for like 7 songs. Just from doing that. And I wasn't trying. I wasn't sitting there trying to write these songs. They just kind of came out of me taking the action. And the same thing happens with writers. I know a lot of times people, when they have writer's block, they'll just sit down and they'll just start. They'll grab a pen and a piece of paper and they'll just start moving a pen on the paper because it's just the action of writing. And from there, it gets the creative juices going. It gets inspiration starts coming, and then all of a sudden they have an idea, and it just whoosh, it takes them from there. I'm currently working on the book for the Criminal Idols series that all of you guys who were part of the Kickstarter campaign, the book part, that's what I'm working on now. And it can be overwhelming at times, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this? And I find that all I have to do is open the project,
And you immediately start saying things.
and then and then I'll grab a picture and I'll put that picture in place, and then I'll be like, and then I'll start moving different things around, and before I know it, 2 hours go by, and I've accomplished, you know, a whole bunch of pages, and I'm like, what just happened? Before I started, I was so overwhelmed, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know. And all I did was open the project. I just started. And so I would encourage you to do that. Rather than look for inspiration in places, just start working on it, even though you have no idea what you're going to do. Open the project. Take the very first step. And don't think beyond that first step. And I bet you'll amaze yourself at what comes out. Before you know it, you'll have a whole bunch written and you'll just be like, sit there, what just happened? All I did was I sat down and I started typing, or I started just doodling on my paper. And now I have all of this content. It's happened to me more times than I can count where I've done that. So I would encourage you to do that. And I've talked for a long time, so I'm going to turn it over to Ryan.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. And that's absolutely true. Main point is just start. A lot of times you'll become motivated in the process of doing. And if you don't know how to start, just do anything. That's kind of close to the activity. And but yeah, I would make a slightly different suggestion, and this should help too. And this is a suggestion that would help 99% of all humanity, including myself. So when I say this, I'm not necessarily a good example of this, but I know it's true. And I witness its truth when I actively do this. And so this is my best suggestion I can give you. cease all entertainment.
Mm.
Completely throw it away. If you go on YouTube and you watch videos, if you open up your iPod and listen to songs, if you, play video games, if you, obviously, there are times when there's entertainment sewn into your normal day activities, like you have to go to school and you have to meet up with your friends, and that's all fine. But outside of that, in your free time, with your free time, don't engage in any entertainment. And like I said, this is something that I need to do, but engage in zero entertainment with your free time. You will find yourself at first being bored. But it is through that which inspiration comes. If you, here's what you're doing. When you are constantly entertaining yourself, you're flooding your mind with the same exact chemicals and response that that trigger inspiration, trigger motivation, the desire to do something. But when you're entertained, that desire is fulfilled, even though you've done nothing. There comes a point where your brain will just stop producing that chemical because you've had an overload. And so it'll be like, whoa, we've had too much of this. So we're just gonna, null it out. Just don't make any more of this chemical because we've been getting too much of this. And so then it will start producing the opposite chemical, which is more of a like, man, I feel super unmotivated to do anything. I just want to, go to bed and do nothing. And that's what a lot of people struggle with in life. I myself included, because I know I do this. But when I'm at my best, it is usually when obviously there's a balance in everything. But if I limit my entertainment, if I cut it out straight away, that'll help a lot. And then I can come back into balance later. But just cutting out entertainment for now and then you have to wait about a week before your brain starts to neutralize all of the offsets. And then it goes, okay, we can start producing this chemical which gives desire to do things, to go out and achieve. So again, try to cut out the entertainment, and that will do you wonders. Just simple as that. So if you find yourself at the end of the day, just going onto YouTube and watching, I don't know, all sorts of stuff. I don't know, like it could even be music. If you can stop doing that for a time, you'll notice that you'll be inspired. Another thing with that is this. If you cut that out, you will give your brain more time to come up with new things, because you're no longer preoccupying your mind with things that you didn't like. You're no longer preoccupying your mind with kind of like not really thinking, like, because when you watch the television or you watch YouTube, you're just receiving all this information. You're not thinking. Sometimes you're thinking about what they're telling you to think about. Most of the time, you're not coming up with anything new, right? If you shut that off, then your brain doesn't have anything to receive to think on. So at some point, it's going to start entertaining itself and coming up with new thoughts, coming up with new ideas for things. I think it was, man, I should not forget this, and everyone's going to be like, how could you forget his name? What's the name of the guy who created Apple products?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, Macintosh, yeah. Steve Jobs, thanks. So Steve Jobs refused
How did you forget
to give
that?
I know. I'm sorry. I knew someone would say it. What the heck? No. Okay. Steve Jobs, I've said this before on stream. Steve Jobs refused to give his kids computers. He said, people asked him in an interview, do your kids have the iPhone or the iTablets? And he said, no, I'm not going to give my kids any of that stuff. And they asked him why. And he said, well, that'll slow my kid down. The reason I come up with all these new inventions is because I'm not bogged down using them. I've allowed myself free time so that I can come up with new things. They eat away at your time and they don't produce anything. They don't give you, a lot of times they can give you inspiration, but again, too much is a bad thing. So you really have to find that balance between a healthy amount of entertainment and consumption of outworld stuff and a healthy amount of productivity from self. Because in order to learn, we have to take from what's outside. We don't teach ourselves a whole lot. We can, but most of what we learn comes from outside sources. Similarly, we can be inspired by outside sources, but if we only consume outside sources and don't spend any time with ourselves, we're not going to create anything new from that inspiration. And so I think it's a really important to try to balance out that whole aspect of your life, and then you'll find yourself feeling more inspired to create. Um, but yeah, that's my main point here. So, did you have anything else you wanted to add here, Joe?
Well, I do think it's funny. Little Miss Fancy pointed out, don't watch YouTube in your free time unless you're watching Don't Worry Wednesday. Then maybe we can make a
Yeah,
small
no, you
excuse.
got that's not. This isn't entertaining, guys. This isn't entertaining, so don't worry about it.
Well, it's just kind of funny because we're talking about
Yeah.
limiting entertainment, but what
Hmm.
we do is we create media. That's what we
Right.
do at BSS. It's funny. It's just kind of a cool
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. No,
Cherry
absolutely.
Cherry said something very important I thought was good. It was when you distance yourself from entertainment and take time to yourself, you stop being influenced by what others think is cool and start pursuing what actually makes you happy. And I think that's a great point because so much of a lot of people's problems are brought on. They're just perceived
Hmm.
by the world of entertainment. Like we internalize stuff that we see. I had mentioned this book a few streams, maybe it was the last stream because it was so long ago, but there's a book by Rachel Cruz called Love Your Life Not Theirs, and it kind of goes into this whole thing about social media and our addiction to looking at other people what they're doing and trying to keep up with them and everything like that. And we start to kind of live other people's lives, because we're so in tune with all of that. It's like, let go of that and live your own life and learn to love who you are and learn about yourself and what makes you tick, and be happy with who you are instead of trying to be somebody else all the time. And I think that's such a great point. Um, and also, I mean, entertainment, there's usually an agenda with a lot of entertainment out there. I can tell you from the bottom of
Yeah.
my heart, our agenda at BSS is to help as many people as we possibly can to live better lives. If we can do anything, to help, that's our goal. That's why we do this stream. That's why we create the stuff we create, and I'm so glad that Ryan has that mentality because the music and videos that he creates, that's at the core of everything he creates, is what kind of message can I put out here that's going to help somebody? And it shows. You listen to the Criminal Idol series, there are so many messages in there that are empowering and uplifting and truth filled messages, like, hey, this is the way the world actually is. This is the way life actually is. It's not just some kind of fleece, pulled over your eyes to shield you from the truth. This is how it is. And it's a beautiful thing. So um I don't know where I was going with all that, but
Yeah, I think I guess on top of that, then the direction would be, like I said, entertainment. You have to find the balance, right?
mhm,
You do
yeah,
need outside sources coming into you and influencing you. But what are those sources? And are
right.
they designed to help you, or are they designed to make a bunch of money? Because if someone's trying to make money, by all means, they will put out stuff that honestly is not so great for you.
Well, it plays on our
We
weaknesses.
tend to like things that aren't good for us, like, I don't
Mhm,
know, eating a pile of sugar, um, like candy and stuff. So
mhm.
look, candy is not really good for you, but guess what? There's people out there who make it. and they make a lot of money making that stuff. Now,
Yeah.
candy can be good for you, but generally speaking, if you're looking for like what's healthiest for my body, you're gonna go for like vegetables like that are like grown more naturally. You're gonna look for meats that are raised well. They're gonna be expensive, but candy has its place too. There's a such thing as joy. There's a such thing as pleasure, and they aren't evil things, right? And so we have to find that balance. And then the same thing for entertainment. Is what you're consuming in entertainment made to be good for you, or is what you're consuming for entertainment made so they can make some money off of you?
Mhm.
And I mean, when the message in the song or the entertainment isn't very good, I think that it shows the intention of the person who's writing it, but anyhow, it's neither here nor there to the question being asked. I think that Sparrow, I think just do it. Just try to find time to do it, even if you're not inspired, because that leads to being inspired.
Uh-huh.
And then
I think,
also try to break away from entertainment.
well, I think the little side conversation we were having about the agenda of different media, I think one thing you can take from that, Sparrow, is that maybe in your writing, find some kind of a mission like that. Find what's your agenda.
Right, because your agenda does fuel your fire to produce.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And if you have a reason for writing of that's going to impact the world in some way, then man, getting in touch with that can also lead to, hey, I need to do something here. And then you start taking action, and then inspiration follows. And then before you know it, you're this massive content creator. So that can all happen too, which is awesome. So Sparrow, I think it's great. If you're writing stuff, I would love to read it. And so go to bss.studio. I know it hasn't necessarily been all that active over there recently, and that's, it's been the holidays, it's been crazy. But this is a call out to everyone who has some kind of talent or creative ability or anything, go to bss.studio. We love to see what you can do. And I think Jeff Mosier, one of our staff members, he put a message out there, kind of like a call to arms for everybody, like, hey, what are you guys good at? We are looking to make this a really big year and a really big decade. And in order to do that, we were like, hey, you know what? We could lock arms with a lot of people in our community. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Why not collaborate? Why not do as many things as we possibly can? And so we want to know what you guys like to do. We want to know what you're good at. So find that post. It's pinned right to the top.
Nice.
So, yep. So anyway, Sparrow, I hope that was awesome. Helpful. Hopefully you're still here. I don't know if you've had to go yet. I know you had to leave in like 30 minutes.
Yeah. Maybe they've just been listening intently. Yeah, they didn't say anything since their original post, so I guess we'll find out. Anyways, thank you so much for the question, Sparrow, and we hope you were able to benefit. There you go. I gotta go now. Thanks. All right, cool. We'll see you later, Sparrow. Hopefully that can help a little bit. And we love you. Thank you for being here. You're awesome.
If it doesn't help, listen to it again.
If it doesn't help, you're wrong.
And if you're that doesn't help, listen to it again.
Yeah.
And listen to it over and over again until it helps.
There you go. Yes, that's probably the best advice so far. All right, cool. Moving on. Yeah. Okay. So let's see who's with us.
Cherry's here?
Yeah. Cherry is here.
Well, Cherry was here a minute ago anyway.
Yeah, probably still here.
Anyone who's here that has a topic?
Yeah.
Just say, hey, I'm here. Do my topic.
I'm just gonna kind of skip down a little bit. Because some of these people have not been here been a long while.
Mhm.
Wait, we have one from. Oh no, this is Rose, but it's not from Roe. Okay. Random. How do I pick myself up? Okay, Akil's with us, but how he you know how he is. Uh,
Yeah.
he's amazing.
He's
Plus
awesome.
Purple
Still
Husky,
trying to.
15th Ghost, Hyrule, um, Hyrule.
Oh,
Okay, Ichikaru Jack, Summoner Keegan, Steve, Jehotzovitz, Saigo, Kendra, Vega. Oh, that's Cherry, and my Gary. So if any of those people
Vega
are here,
and Val. Yeah,
send
it's
send word. Val,
is Cherry.
I see Vega. Is that Vega is Val? I don't know. Is Cherry?
Yeah, isn't that
Um.
crazy? Detective was posted 4 years ago.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, man. And it's such a great song. I just listened to it yesterday, actually.
What did you?
Again. Oh yeah. Listen. The whole Criminal Idol series that's on YouTube. I listened to the whole thing
Nice.
because I like
How
it.
was it?
It was great.
Did you listen? You listened to like the whole thing, like last two episodes too?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you
I
could have
listened to
because you
those
have them.
earlier in the day because I'm a little spoiled little brat and I can do that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, you got the inside scoop, So
I do. And I tell you what, episode 12
yeah.
is not my favorite.
Really awesome. I like that one. It's one of my favorites as well. Ever since I created that song, I'm like, man, this is good. This is so good. I like
Yeah.
this one.
It's super
It's kind of
good.
like episode 10, completely different style, but episode 10 was before I was like, man, this one is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, episode 11, guys, is so weird.
You
You're
guys
gonna
are gonna
either
love it.
love it or you're gonna be like, what happened? That was the creepiest thing I've ever heard. It was a trip. As my brother said, he was like, that was a trip, dude. And that's actually Rainey's response too. She said it was a real trip. I think that's everybody's response to that one. And they're like, I don't know if I like it, but it was certainly like a trip.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you'll get to experience that when it comes out.
Yes.
If you're part of the Kickstarter campaign, I think you might get to experience it a little bit sooner. But yeah, or if you're signed up on our website, we'll put it out there too, along with so everyone will get it ahead. Everybody who can get it ahead of time will get it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. But if you get to be a staff member, you get all this stuff early, like as soon as it was written. And if you go back in time and you get to know Ryan, like when he was younger, then you get to hear the stuff while it's in progress. And that's a trip too sometimes.
True. Sometimes it's like, what is this supposed to be? It'll turn into something eventually. Just give it time.
And then what happens is you hear it in progress and you're like, hey, I want to use that for something. And then they're like, and then Ryan's like, no, that's reserved for Criminal Idol. It's like,
oh. Yeah. But then I throw away half of it anyways, so you might as well.
True. That's true.
It's like you finally hear the final project, like, this was what you were working on? I don't remember a sound on my yes. Yeah. No, I just got rid of it and started over. Yeah. I've done that a couple of times. Anyways.
Yeah, let's
moving on. You want to do cherries?
Yeah, let's do cherries. Cherries here.
All right. Here we are then. I'm gonna, I guess Princess is with us, but I'll share the link.
I'm gonna share the link.
Okay, everybody share the link.
Oh,
everybody,
look at that.
Hey, Tsubasa, how's it going? So this is, hey, I like your profile picture. It's really cute. I don't know what's on her eyeball though. But it's really cute. Anyways, here we are. This is from Cherry or Val. It is titled Uncertainty and Complexity. And it reads as follows. Some updates. I think I'm back to wanting to move to Japan and live my life there. I'm taking a study trip there this July. I've recently gotten into self-help books. and I've been reading them a lot. Right now, I'm currently in the middle of reading The Courage to Be Happy by Fumitake Koga and Ichiro Kishimi. Also, before the topic, this post is basically just an updated version of a previous post I made. On to the topic. Lonnie, who's the girl that I got the note from, whose name I first thought was Lonnie, okay, was on the bus about a few weeks ago from when this post was made. We talked the entire bus ride, and I was very open. All it took was one word, and our conversation went from there. I felt so not alone for once in my life. The way she talked to me, the way she talked, made me feel understood and like I wasn't crazy. Once her stop came up, I made the mistake of asking her if she'd mind me walking her home. I didn't mean it in a romantic way. I just wanted to talk more because she's the first person I've been able to be that open to. And I wanted to learn more about her and her past, especially since she was open to me and admitted to how she cut herself, showing me the scars. She said that she couldn't walk home with me. I don't know why, but I just figured it was maybe because of something to do with her parents. She left it just felt she left and it just felt awkward. The next day, I sat in the seat that we normally sit in, but she decided to sit closer to the front to avoid me. I felt horrible. I felt horrible. I started sitting in my usual seat I sat in before I met her, and things went back to how they were before we met. I gave up. I've been urged to try to talk to her again, and I won't deny. Sorry, there's something in my. Okay. And I won't deny the special feeling she gave me, where, but I don't know if I want to talk to her again. Not because I hold some type of grudge, but because I'm afraid of talking to her. What if I'm too open? What if I mess up again? What if she doesn't want to talk to me again? Even if those things don't happen, I still don't think I want to talk to her again. I'm afraid of falling in love. I'm not sure if I even want a real relationship. I don't think I'm ready, and I don't know if I'll ever be ready. I'm too not used to it. It just seems too awkward. I'm so used to being alone that I can't imagine myself being in love. I know I'm naturally prone to falling in love, but that's what I don't want. I don't want to fall in love because although I usually end up falling in love, I don't want to be in love. The other day, I sat down next to someone and she was in the seat across from me, and we were both almost side by side. I just focused my attention elsewhere, but it was very awkward. I don't want things to be awkward, but I also don't know if I want to fix things because of what could result in me fixing it.
Mm.
And that is the finish of this post by Cherry, aka Val, on the website. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, this is great. I'm happy to read your story. Happy to see how it's evolved. It's kind of taken an awkward turn, an undesired turn. So now you're kind of at a position where it's like, I don't want it to be this way. I want to be friends, but at the same time, I also don't want to like take it too far. I don't want to mess things up even further. And I also don't want to make things go into a situation where it becomes about love or romance or things like that rather than actual friendship. And I think that that's a very mature response. Now, the fear causes you to kind of just keep things at a standstill, as opposed to, you know, making things better or worse. So sometimes fear can be okay, but yeah, let's talk about this topic. This is kind of interesting, and I'm liking that you're sharing this with us. It's really cool, Cherry. We love you, and yeah. So, Joe, what's the weather like today? No, I'm just kidding. Joe,
It's cold, man.
it's cold, dude. I know it's cold. You live in Michigan. It's the way it is, dude.
It's cold in
Okay.
Michigan.
Okay. So, anyways, what are your views on this topic? And yeah, what advice can you give to, or if any advice at all? So
Well, first of all, I'm really happy to hear that you're reading. I'm happy to hear that you're reading self-help stuff. That, that made such a huge impact on my life
Hmm.
when I started reading books that were good, that were helpful to kind of reprogram my mind. On the last topic, Ryan talked about getting rid of some entertainment, cutting out entertainment. And a lot of times the stuff that we have available for entertainment can be kind of disempowering. And so it's good to have some programming, like good books that can help you think properly and help you think in terms of being happy and having courage. Like that book title, I want to read this book. Just the title of itself, The Courage to Be Happy. That's two things that I would love to read about: being happy and having courage. Both,
Mhm.
you know? So, first of all, my hat's off to you. I'm going to keep it on because it's cold. Um,
I've never like heard anyone take that phrase beyond its starting point and then continue to be like, yeah, but I'm not actually, because it's just a phrase.
It's just
I'm
an
not physically
expression,
committed to what I just said.
right?
It's like, I'm gonna eat my hat. No one actually eats their hat after I say that.
um, no, I'm proud of you. I think that's awesome that you're doing that, and and that you're talking about going to Japan. That could be very interesting and fun and awesome. Like I'm really excited to hear that you might be expanding there too, and going there. So with all that going on, now you also have this complicated relationship weirdness thing going on. And yeah, it can be tough. And sometimes if you're anything like me, you overthink things. I overthink things all the time. All the time, all the time. Like I go through and I start projecting myself years into the future with a certain thing, or I start, well, if I do this, then this might happen, or if I do that, then that might happen, and I don't want either of those things to happen. So I'm just going to do nothing. And a lot of times I find out that I was totally wrong. I can't expect anything. I have such a great track record of being wrong. Like I find that whatever I
Okay.
do, I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters the things we do, but when it comes to did I say the right thing or do the right thing, a lot of times I've found to find joy in the experiment, if I can say that. Like I'll try a certain approach and I'll see how it worked out. And if it doesn't work out, well, I know that approach wasn't that great with that person. Maybe I'll try a different approach another time. And I've learned that a lot of times you get redos with people. Now, there are times that you don't. There are times when you say or do something and you burn a bridge and you don't have, and then any contact with that person from then on is like really, really weird and really, really bad. And so I've stepped across that line a few times with people, and I have destroyed close friendships by saying or doing things a certain way. And those were very valuable learning experiences, but also very painful learning experiences. And um, so it sounds to me, just from your post, that you're, you're at a point where you're not quite sure what you want. You know something about yourself that it's pretty easy for you to fall in love. It's pretty easy for you to get those feelings of in love, that in love feeling that, you know, it feels good, really, but it's kind of scary and it's exciting. But for you to know that about yourself, that's so valuable, because that's one of the things that sets humans apart from other animals, is that we can actually step outside of ourselves and analyze ourselves. We can analyze our own behavior and our own responses to things. And we can then make decisions based on how well we know ourselves and how well we know how we're going to act. And then we can either go forward in certain situations or back away from certain situations based on that knowledge. And I think that's really cool that you know these things about yourself. So as far as advice goes, it's tough for me to say, because pursuing relationships can lead to great things. It can lead to awesome things. But relationships also complicate our lives. They do, in good ways. I mean, I fell in love with a woman who I then married. And I look back, you know, just as you were talking about all the things you're going through right now, I remember going through a lot of the same stuff with her, you know, just like that whole, like that drama of, you know, well, we had this conversation and then it might have gone too far, and so then things were cold for a while, and then everything was good, and then, you know, we kind of had this drama of back and forthness. And then now I look back on that, I'm like, wow, now we've got kids, we've got martial arts, we've got basketball, we've got gymnastics, we've got all kinds of stuff going on, and our lives are complicated. We got health insurance with deductibles and hospital bills and all kind, you know, all that stuff kind of comes in when you go there. Now, I don't want to scare you from doing that, because that's just kind of the natural progression of life as we get older and as we make decisions. But relationships can complicate your life. And if you're looking for simplicity, then yeah, I think you're on the right track, because you're like, you know, maybe I don't want a relationship right now. And if you're trying to figure out how you operate, and if you're talking about going to Japan, that's exciting. Then maybe it'd be best for you to not get too serious in a relationship right now, and just spend some time learning you. Read the good books, continue the self-help journey, because you're going to find some great insight in a lot of those books. And if you have any, if you're wondering about what book to maybe go to next, I've read a ton of books. I always have all kinds of book recommendations on this show. I know you've heard me recommend probably at least a dozen books in different situations. But I'm just so happy to hear you're on this journey, and I'm so proud of you. And there's exciting stuff going on for you with your reading and with thinking about going to Japan. That excites me. And yeah, relationships can make things complicated. It's a good complicated sometimes, but it is complication. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and see what he has to say.
Hey, that's all.
Good.
That's it. That's all I had to say. No,
Thanks, Terry. Hopefully that was helpful. I know
Yeah,
my
hopefully
part wasn't, so hopefully Ryan's part helped.
Yeah, hopefully mine was quick and straight to the point, and it really cut through and helped a lot. No, okay, so Cherry, you're awesome. Thanks again for sharing this. I love you, man. So one thing I'll have to say here is, obviously I'm in agreement with Joe, as I pretty much always am. I think it's better to try to avoid relationships. Usually, sometimes they're good. But if you, I mean, a lot of times what you really want is a friendship, not a relationship where you want a true relationship where friendship and that sort of thing is the whole point of it, and not like romantic fantasy stuff like that, right? Um, not not an obsession, if you will, as or as that kind of relationship uh, can become an obsession and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
anyways, I'm gonna talk about a little bit about their perspective, perhaps. So obviously, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know why they did what they did, but it's likely that the awkwardness caused them to feel like they shouldn't sit next to you, and that made it awkward for you because then they made visible their own feelings. So a lot of times, what happens is like I'm going to give an example, and you're probably going to understand this. Um, let's say you come into class and there was a homework assignment and you didn't complete your homework, and you're close with the teacher, you know the teacher, and you guys talked about the assignment, and then you're like, shoot, I didn't complete this, and you don't want to look bad, and you don't want to disappoint your teacher, and so you end up not turning the homework in. Just instead of turning in like a quarter of the homework being finished, you decide, you know what, I'm just not going to turn any of it in because one, I don't want to look bad. Two, I'm disappointed in myself. I don't want them to be disappointed in me, so I'm just not going to bring it up. I'm not going to let them see that I didn't finish it. Then maybe they'll just assume that I finished it, and they won't notice right away that I failed on my part, and then I won't have to feel bad. You know, okay, so has anybody experienced that? Hopefully that wasn't just me. All right. I'm sure other people have experienced that or things like that. And I think that this is similar to what she's probably gone through. She doesn't want to, because of whatever happened. Now she feels like what I've done is disappointing. Now now I've made things awkward. So instead of going and sitting next to you, she's just going to avoid you so that she doesn't have to show that part of, like, she doesn't even have to confront that issue. And so she just avoids it and pretends like it was never a thing, right?
Hmm.
I think we've all done that to some degree, um, from
I have.
with one thing or another. Um, you said never experienced that in my life. Pretty weird thing to do. Yeah, joking. I have. Yeah. So yeah. And so if you think about it from that perspective, you you know that that's not logical, right? It's not a logical thing to do. It's an emotional thing to do. It's a thing that you do because you don't want to be a disappointment. You don't want to be seen, more so. You don't want your disappointments to be made more visible. You want to hide. You just want to hide and get away from all of that. And so you don't, maybe you just like completely skip class. You know, in this scenario, she is coming to just avoid you so that she can avoid that feeling. But the problem is, by taking that action, what she ends up doing is prolonging that feeling. She draws that feeling out every
Mhm.
single time she gets on the bus, right? Now you have the opportunity to be the hero and stop her from prolonging it by talking to her and being like, "Hey, it ain't no thing. Don't worry about it. I don't care." Like, I thought that was my mistake for asking. It was silly of me to ask that question, right? Then it's solved, because then you guys are over that hurdle. We all have hurdles in every friendship. We all make awkward mistakes in every friendship. We all show our disappointing sides of ourselves in every friendship, pretty much. Um, and so it's just another like bump on the road, right? It's just normal. What you experience, I don't mean to say like it's easy. But I do mean to say that it's pretty normal. That's a pretty normal response from her side. And it's a pretty normal response from your side. There's nothing, no one's done anything evil here. It's just how it turned out. Now it's just a matter of, if you want to fix it, how do you do that? Well, if you want to fix it, of course, I understand being afraid of making the relationship go beyond friendship, and you don't want that, right? And I think the best thing you can do for that is not worry about where it goes in that way. What I mean is this: enter into the relationship with her. You go back to talking to her. Try to find, and don't worry about whether it's awkward or a bad time. Just say, hey. And I thought our conversation that we had a few weeks ago was really cool. And I think that you're a really cool person. And if that's all you had to say and then walk on, then leave. Then just let that sit there and then come back next week and start up a real conversation.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times that's what's needed.
Mhm.
Sometimes that's the best route, is just in passing, while you're walking by her, just be like, hey, it'd be cool to sit down next to you again sometime. I thought you were a really cool person, just to be around. And then leave, get off the bus, or let her get off the bus, or whatever. And then next time, you could just say a quick thing again, let her know that you think she's cool. And then the next time, at some point, eventually just doing this, whether it's after the first time, after the second time, or after the third time, just letting her know, like just saying hey and letting her know that you think she's cool. She's going to become a normal friend again. She's going to become someone that is going to be comfortable around being with you. And that feeling of awkwardness that she felt like she did something wrong is going to go away, because she knows that you don't think about her that way. You don't think about how she did something and messed up, or that she has disappointing parents or something like that, right? Because you're showing her that that's not what you're thinking. And that's what her concern is, probably. So now on the other side is, you don't want it to develop into something that's romantic, right? If you put your heart in the right place, then it won't matter. And what I mean is this: if you're set on making it a friendship by being a friend, and what I mean is, you from the bottom of your heart love her and respect her and have not a desire for yourself. Because a lot of times what that is, right? When you think about a romantic relationship, it's not a desire about them. It's a desire for yourself that they're supposed to be fulfilling, right? A lot of times that's what our romantic relationships are about, a desire about ourselves that we want them to fulfill. We have this desire, like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with them, right? I feel so happy when I'm around them. So they need to complete that for me, right? Now, how do we avoid that? We cut that out at the root and say, hey, I'm in this friendship for you. And I don't care what's being fulfilled. I don't care if I'm happier or not. The whole point of me being around you is to make you happy. The whole point of me being around you is just to be friends, to be good support for one another, to chat, to enjoy each other. But nothing about that comes back to me and fulfilling some kind of a selfish kind of desire, happiness included, in that sort of thing. So if you set out to be your friend, if it turns into a relationship, if it turns into a love relationship, that's not a problem now. Because if your heart's in the right place, then your romantic relationship will not be about yourself, and you won't get that bad side of love. See, because what you're worried about is falling in love, which is a good worry when love is about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to worry about falling in love if love is about the other person. Because you can trust that feeling, because that's the feeling of true friendship. And when you get into a relationship, if you get into a relationship with the person, it's okay because you're rooted in friendship. And that's the whole point. You're actually there for them and you're not there for yourself. Because when we fall in love head over heels for someone, it really is pretty much just about ourselves. It's not, it's, I mean, let's be honest. It's like almost never about the other person. It's all about how I feel. I
Mm-hmm.
feel amazing when I'm around them.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I'm on top of the world when I'm around them. Great. That's not bad. It's not an evil thing. Cool. But that's what you experience. And that's not a bad thing, but it is all about you. So, I mean, obviously, then you go, okay, these are compelling me to do things for them, which is cool. That's a very good, nice, healthy thing. But it's it's legitimate, Cherry. What I'm saying is it's legitimate to be fearful of that, to be like, hey, I don't want to I don't want to fall in love. I don't want to be there. It takes too much time. You know, like I get it. It's a legitimate worry. So I think that if you can root your friendship in just actually loving them and meaning you want the best for them and you're willing to go out of your way to get that for them, to help them achieve those things, whatever that means, whatever road or path that means, and being a friend, being a genuinely on their side for them, I think then you don't have to worry so much because if it turns into that, then it's okay. But if it doesn't turn into that, cool. That's good too. I think that a lot of times we find love most when we're not looking for it. And that's because we're most attractive when we aren't in it for ourselves. Because when you are falling in love with people, right? That shows. And people can see that you're in it for yourself. Even though like people aren't reading each other that well, there's something that just offsets us. We're like, we look at a person, we're like, I don't, for some reason, I just don't feel that way about them. And I kind of just don't want to really be around them. You know, they're really interested in me. I kind of just off put by that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when we just approach someone without that feeling, we act completely different. We aren't worried about, oh, I gotta impress them. Every word that I say has to be really impressive. I gotta tell a joke, and if it's gonna be a joke, I gotta make it sure it's really funny. And you know, like otherwise, I don't know how to. I don't want to mess anything up. That's for sure. So I'll be like really quiet, or maybe I'll just be really talkative. You know, like, people change. People get weird. All right. But then people are most attracted to you when you're not even like searching for love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because then you're your genuine self. Then you're someone who's not in it for yourself and to try to impress other people. You're just impressed by others. And I think that's, you know, a beautiful thing. So I don't know. I would say if it were me, I would attempt to fix a relationship through kindness, through subtle remarks, letting them know that I'm comfortable with being around them through the things that I say, that I still want to be around them as a friend and that sort of thing. Um, and then see where the relationship goes from there and not worry. As long as I can put my heart in the right place, then I don't have to worry about where it goes, where that path goes, because I know I'll be right no matter where that path goes. If my heart is set in the right place, then that path will go wherever it goes, but my heart will always be true. And that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's my approach. Now, of course, you can do anything that you feel is good for you. You know your situation better than I do. You know yourself better than I do. You know your friend better than I do. So I'm going to leave that up for you to decide. And I'm going to give it back over to Joe to see if he's got any words of wisdom to add on to this whole topic.
Well, I really love the stuff Ryan was talking about. And one of the things that kind of undergirds a lot of that is the virtue of patience.
Hmm.
And as you know, like he's talking about being selfless in, you know, with the relationship and also going and maybe just saying, hey, you know, I had a really good time talking with you the other day, and then just leave it at that, and then, you know, wait, and then maybe go back a week later and stuff. And the the point the point I would make with a lot of this stuff is how important it is to be patient. how important it is that how do I say this? You've got time. Very rarely do we, just like we have to do something immediately. Now there are those moments when it's like, things are urgent and pressing and, we have an emergency we have to deal with. There are those times. But a lot of times, especially in things like this, what you're dealing with relationships and stuff like that, a lot can change over the course of time. And just being patient and understanding that it takes time for people to adjust in situations. It takes time for people to change their mind about different things, you know. W- I look at myself, I'm like, man, I'm really stubborn sometimes in my own mind, you know.
Y'all are.
And it's like it takes me a long time to wrap my head around something. And like Ryan was saying, maybe she just got scared because she had a really great time talking to you. And she's like, whoa, I'm not ready for this to go any farther yet. I'm gonna avoid it. You know, who knows? We can't read people's minds. We can read people's body language. And I am the best at misinterpreting people's body language.
We can read people's books.
What's that?
So we can read people's books.
Yes, we totally can do that too. But yeah, like I would just say a lot of the things Ryan said was so great. I mean, those are great things to try and do. And inside, while you're doing this, try and remember to be patient with others, and to be patient with situations. Because if you just relax and let things play out, and then maybe throw in a thing here or there, a lot of this stuff is going to just take care of itself.
Mm-hmm. I have on that note, like I have friends that I talk to, and I see, like, I'm not perfect, but I see their flaws too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I can help them if I was them, but I don't control them. And so instead, I figured out, like, oh, after many years of doing this wrong, by the way, I figured out, you know what? I'm just gonna let them figure it out. I'm just gonna be my best and do my best to be, be holy and everything like that, right? And you know what? I'm just gonna be patient with people. They'll figure it out in a year. They'll figure it out in 2 years. And you know what's happened? A lot of my friends, whatever issue it was that I remember, like, encountering them when I first met them, it's changed. It's not their issue anymore. They've moved on, or they've increased their ability to handle it. And I'm like, yeah, way to go. You're doing better than, when I first met you. It's great. And so, you know what? Patience is so valuable when it comes to friendships. Don't worry about, uh, you know, um, anything like that. Like, man, if you run into a bump with your relationship, it's not going to matter in like a month once you guys just figure it out. Yeah. So anyways,
Ryan's talking about me there.
no, I was not. It was the other way around back then, dude. But I met you.
Man, I really hope Joe would just figure it out, man.
But I met you, man. You were teaching me everything. See, I didn't read self-help books. I just experienced people who were reading them and try to dig after them. And that was my number one best I don't know, act of success, path of success for self-help. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. I just listened to the people who read them and I'm like, yeah, you're probably right about that. Let's do that.
That sounds like it might be right. I'll try it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, sorry
Cherry,
for interrupting you. Yeah.
no, you're fine because that was the point I was making. And just, with friends, with relationships, be patient. Understand you got time. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. You got a lot of great things going for you, Cherry, and I'm really happy to hear a lot of this stuff. And I can't wait to hear more as time goes on. So please make sure you keep coming back and keeping us updated and all that stuff. I was glad to see that this situation got an update. It was kind of like, whoa,
Yeah.
it went a while before we heard anything.
Yeah. I was glad. I was excited when I saw that it was going to be an update to that. I was like, oh, great, great. Because I've
hmm
been wondering.
hmm Yep. But it took a while for that to happen. So patience.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff's gonna happen when it's supposed to, and it's okay.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
anyway, hopefully
Well,
that was helpful.
thanks, Cherry. We love you. And we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one.
Yeah, we got a few people here.
Now here's the thing. King My Gary showed up.
Mhm.
And Saigo showed up and they said, I'm going to sit this one out. Saigo,
And Kendra's here too.
Kendra's here. Yeah, we have one from Kendra as well. So
Mhm.
Saigo, you're first on the list. You sure you want to sit it out? Because we'd be happy to have a go at it. This one was titled Minimizing Costs. And it was posted by you on the website. Oh, Random is here too. Really? I totally missed that. Are you
Random's
sure?
got one from like 6 months ago.
Yeah, if Random's here, we've got one from like, oh my gosh. How do I pick myself up? Well, you've done it. You're here finally. No. Are you sure they're here though? I haven't seen them.
Random. I have to leave now. Thanks for doing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. See, I was like, Random can't make it to these because Random's got a schedule that doesn't allow him to come to Wednesdays. He can only come on Fridays because this is too late in where he's from. He's like from like, I think he's from somewhere in Europe. So right now it's crazy late o'clock for them.
Okay, so Saigo says it's passed already, so we can read it if we need material. Kendra is like, there's one from me.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Kendra, it's called Worried for a Friend.
Well, apparently it's a topic rather than a question. Oh, no, that's a different one. Sorry. No, this is Kendra. Yeah, worried for a friend. Are you still, is that friend? Did the friend figure it out? It's called Worried for a Friend. A friend of mine on Discord hasn't been on in a while, and I had thought that perhaps she was just busy with school and focusing on her studies, etc., etc. Is that one still? Oh, hey, Random. Oh, okay. Yeah, Random. I love you, man. Thanks for. You're from India. India. I was totally wrong, but dude, yeah, it's okay. Like that. You like. We understand. Get to class, man. Love you.
Yes.
Hopefully, we can start doing these on like Fridays again or earlier in the day so you can be here for them. But that's not going to happen any immediate time because of Joe's crazy schedule.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be at least a month
before
that changes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Kendra wants this one. Let's do it.
Perfect.
If you have any updates that you'd like to share in the chat, go ahead and do so now. So I will start over. This is Worried for a Friend by Kendra, and it reads as follows. A friend of mine on Discord.
Hey, we need to post a link.
Oh,
Princess posted it. Yay, Princess.
There we go.
Thank you.
A friend of mine on Discord hasn't been on for a while, and I thought that perhaps she was just busy with school and focusing on her studies. Well, recently she messaged me and had me talk to her privately. She had attempted suicide, and I was the first one she trusted to tell me about what she had tried to do. I had sat there in shock for a moment and didn't have any words to say, and when she repeated again, I had told her I heard her and I just let her talk. Apparently, she had been dealing with problems with some really bad friends, along with her ex and family members. She felt like she had nowhere else to turn to. I started tearing up when she had told me that she was glad she had failed and glad she was alive. I had told her that I was glad she was alive too, and that if she was there, or sorry, and that if I was there, I would hug her, but then punch her arm and hug her again. Nice. I told her to never do that again because I cared too much to lose another friend. She told me that if I saw her online to message her or talk to her, and I plan on doing that. I am now worried for her. She says she is getting help, and that will be a reason she won't be on Discord that much, but to message her when she is on. Okay. I am praying for her and that she gets better. I'm just worried that I won't be able to do much for her. We may not live in the same state, but she is like my little sister, and it hurts to think she tried to take her life. She says she regrets not telling us what had been happening, but I understood why she kept it to herself. She didn't want us to be worried for her, but this has made me worry for her more, anyways. Sorry, more, period. Anyways, thank you for reading this. I need to get this off my chest. Kendra. Now, Sumner Keegan responded to this with a lengthy um,
Mhm.
reply. And so if you haven't read it already, I would give that a go. I haven't read it myself, so I don't know what it says, but I'm sure it's worth reading. Sumner
Yes.
Kingdom usually has some
Sumner.
really great things to say.
Yes.
So, um, yeah, I would check that out if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks for sharing this. Obviously, this is a kind of like a a pretty sad, sorrowful, somber topic.
Mhm.
And it can be a really hard thing to deal with for her, and it can be also a very hard thing to deal with for you. I understand the stress that comes with this when you have someone that is suicidal. You yourself end up finding many sleepless nights,
Mm.
being worried and praying for them, waiting up, making sure that they'll reply to your message, and things like that. So if you're going through that, I totally understand, and I feel for you. But um, we're gonna get through this together, and hopefully we can give shed some light on how to pick her back up on her feet again and move her towards you know um, a better state of mind,
Mhm.
and a better position where she respects and loves herself a bit more, and not just others around her. I think a lot of times what we end up in is just people say, I won't commit suicide because other people care about me.
Mm.
And that's good,
Mhm.
but it doesn't solve the problem. So hopefully we can talk a little bit about that too. Um, maybe Joe will give us some insight into that as well. We'll find out. Joe, what do you have to say about this?
We'll find out if Joe's smart enough to have the insight.
Oh, I'm not saying about smartness. I'm just saying he's probably got things prepared. I don't know what it's gonna be, and we're gonna find out. And I hope
Wow,
he
yeah.
talks about it because it's gonna be better than what I have to say, anyways, if he says it. So,
Well, I look at this situation, and first of all, thank you for posting, and also I'm so sorry that you've got to go through this. This is so hard. It and like Ryan was saying, it's hard for her, and it's also hard for you because I mean this whole thing when people are struggling like this, it affects the entire circle of friends. You know, when this happens, and it's painful for everybody. Um, I'm glad to hear she's getting help, and I hopefully she'll find help in a good place,
mhm,
um, and that would be good. Uh, from what I gather from the post, it sounds to me like as far as actions you can take, you're it sounds like you're pretty much doing everything you can. I mean, by being available for her to talk to and praying a lot. And I will also add, her and you and this whole situation to my prayer list, because this is so tough. And um, one thing, Kendra, if I remember correctly, you're Catholic, so as far as prayers go, you can look up different saints that might be good people to ask for their prayers as well. Um, so that can always be helpful too. But prayer is so powerful, and one of the reasons prayer is so powerful is because it aligns us with God. And God loves your friend. I mean, he created her. God loves you. And when we pray, it aligns us with who created us, which is amazing. And I don't know how comforting that is in this situation. Sometimes in situations like this, it's almost like nothing can be comforting. And it's like I was talking to a buddy who his son had died. And I said, man, I really don't even know what to say. And he said, Joe, it's not about saying the right thing. It's just that I really just appreciate that you're talking to me right now, that you're here, that we're able to talk. We were just on the phone. We weren't, I mean, he lives, a handful of states away as well. So any contact I have with him is on the phone. And yeah, so sometimes finding the right thing to say, there is no right thing to say sometimes. Kendra says, I told her that once I have a place of my own and once she is 18, she can move in with me. Her family isn't the nicest to her. Ah, that's tough. One thing, I mean, I don't know where your relationship with her sits, but if she is in a position where she would listen to you and she would take to heart what you have to say, you might relate to her how helpful it can be to forgive. If we feel like we're being hurt by other people, I only mention this because you said her family isn't very nice to her. And sometimes the hurts that we have that other people have inflicted upon us can affect us in ways that lead us to depression, that lead us to patterns of bad behavior, that lead to all kinds of wrong in our lives. And it's because we've been hurt by other people, so we're wounded. And really the best thing we can do is forgive those people. And that seems to go so backwards to what the rest of the world will tell you, and what we think of as normal life. Like, if somebody hurts me, I need redemption. I need to go and there needs to be justice, and da 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 da. And justice generally tends to work itself out in the world. I've found, a lot of times you've heard the axiom, what goes around comes around. And if people are sending around evil, they're going to get some evil back, so we don't necessarily need to be thinking about, handing out justice and judgment. But forgiveness isn't letting someone else off the hook. Forgiveness is getting freedom for yourself from that situation. It's your way of freeing yourself. And sometimes I know in my life, when I was deeply depressed, that was the thing I needed to do. I needed to forgive where I had felt like I had been hurt by other people. I needed to forgive them for that. And that's when the healing began. And so I don't know if there's a way, if, and I know it's tough to say all those things in a moment when you're just chatting with someone online or whatever. But I think probably you're already doing about everything you can do. And as hard as it is, one thing that's happening here is you have an opportunity to grow spiritually and mentally and emotionally, because this is a challenging time. And challenges are opportunities for growth. So this heartache, that you're going through, it's going to strengthen you in the long run. Kendra says, I don't know what her religion is. I believe it's Baptist, but I could be confusing her with another friend who is having problems with her family. Okay. And it's either way, whether she's religious or not, I mean, the healing power of forgiveness is universal, being religious or non-religious. And this suffering you feel right now, you can offer it. You can pray and you can offer your suffering to God. For those of us that are Christians, it was an act of suffering that redeemed the world. And through our own suffering, we can heal other areas. We can't have that universal redemption. Only Christ was able to achieve that. But through our own suffering, we can also bring value to the world. And so I would encourage you to do that too. Anytime you're feeling heartache, anytime you're feeling sad or worried, or just the pain of all that, pray and offer it. Give it to God. And other than that, I'm not quite sure what to say. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. And
I get it. It's a tough
he's going to have
topic.
some awesome stuff.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I was going to say basically, I think in this scenario, again, there's not a whole lot you can do, and you're probably doing pretty much everything you can do. The only thing you can do is check yourself. And by that, I mean is this. What did I just say? And by that, I mean
check yourself
this.
before you riggedy wreck yourself.
Yeah, no. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. yes, or somebody else. But you don't want to check somebody else because that's hockey and it's not a very kind move.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So what I mean is this. You might be able to find better ways to spend your time with her, or better ways to say things, or better conversations to have. Because right now, all you have is your conversations over Discord and your prayers. And it was like the only time you can do anything. Mm-hmm. Other than maybe like if you want to go out of your way and like make some art for her or something that she might appreciate. Mm-hmm. And that could be a good thing to do. That might change her opinion about herself, and that could really help move her forward. Hopefully, if you're in a position where she respects you, that means your words carry. They mean a lot, and that what you do carries. It means a lot, and that she trusts what you say. Here's kind of like an interesting thing. I respected my brother, and so what he said would be true. So if he said that he thought that I was smart, it meant I was actually smart, whether I believed it or not, because I knew that he was right, because I couldn't argue with my brother. Not because my brother's always right, but because I
He pretty
respected
much
him.
usually is though.
He's pretty right most of the time. Um, yeah. So, and it hopefully, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but if you're respected by her at that level, then you putting time and effort into showing her the good side of herself, spend time lifting her up by just honestly, just emphatically saying, I really appreciate this about you. This is who you are. Tell her who she is so that she knows what she should see when she looks at herself. Tell her who she is so that when she looks in the mirror, she can look for those things in herself. And whether that be the mental mirror or a physical mirror, if you can tell her who she is, then she'll start to believe that's who she is. A lot of times, if we don't take that opportunity to tell somebody who they are to us, right? Who are you to me? How do I see you? You know, when I look at you, I see these beautiful things. And if we take time to do that, that'll help them see that. If we don't take time to do that, we let them run a crazy race in their head where they're like, I don't know what they think of me. And I don't like me, so they probably don't like me either. I have all these flaws and they probably see all these flaws and they probably hate me on the inside and they're just being nice because they're trying to put on that facade. But in reality, they hate me because I hate myself. And how could anybody not hate me? Because you haven't told them what you see in them and how you actually see them, and that you don't even give a single crap about what problems they have on the inside of themselves because you know that they can work through it. You don't care about their sins. You do. You care like that they do them and you hope that they, move on and stop doing them. But that doesn't separate you from them. That doesn't make you hate them, right? They need to know that. A lot of people walk around every day hating themselves because they've got all sorts of kind of messed up going on. They need to know that you don't care. You just love them. And those things, you don't credit that to who they are. You credit all the good things. You look at them and see all these amazing things and all this great potential and everything like that. And you don't really even care that they've got the bad things because everyone's got the bad things. And you're not going to grade them on it. No one's grading them on it except for themselves. So, one of the best things you can do is when you're around them, spend your time making sure that they know what you think of them, and only the good things, of course. I mean, you don't want to. I guess the bad things too, if that can help them. Sometimes it can help other people to point out, like, hey, I know this little thing um, that you do. Why don't we try to see what we can do about that? We can move forward from that, and then maybe you won't hate yourself for that anymore. And they'll be like, okay, if you have that level of respect with them. But if you don't worry about it. Until you have that respect, yeah, don't worry about it. Be patient with them, like we talked earlier. Be patient with them. They're gonna figure it out. You just spend your time making your time the best it can be. Um, um, you said the only bad thing is how little she thinks of herself. Oh wait, hold on. I have to read before that. Okay. She hasn't been on since we last spoke, but I have been sending her messages. So when she gets online, she has something uplifting to read. Okay, good. Um, yeah, that's awesome. That is super awesome. Um, Again, I think I've talked about this in the past, but the thing we can do when we see somebody in this situation, right? We want to come in and help them. We want to come in and fix them because they're broken and we want to make them work again. We want them to be happy and we want to do everything we can to fix their problems to make them work again, right? Um, but people don't work like that. People, a lot of people say that you can't fix someone, they have to fix themselves. And that's not entirely true. I think it's more important to say this. It's better to be an influence on someone and helping them improve rather than spending 2 seconds looking at their problems.
Mm.
Because if you are trying to help someone and you're focusing on their problems, that will show. They'll know that you're doing that. And that's not going to make the friendship stronger. That's going to make them feel more vulnerable, more humiliated, more, yeah, just, yeah, just bad, right? And you're not going to inspire anybody to fix their problems by telling them how to fix them unless they come to you for that. The way that you fix people's problems is being there with them on an adventure together through life. You don't help someone get over their fear of heights by saying, there's no reason to have fear of heights. It's illogical. What you need to do is get up on that pole and just stand there and balance. And they're going to be like, oh, holy cow. My fear of heights is just suddenly gone. I'm going to get right up on that pole. No, they're going to be like, no, that's stupid. I'm not getting on that pole, no matter what you say. But if you climb that pole yourself and you make it something you're both working on together, you make it something that you're trying to do. You're like, hey, I have this like fear of heights. It's not super big, but it's like a little. And then I just don't like having fears of things. So I'm going to try to get up on this pole. Want to help me? And they're going to be like, dude, you're nuts. You're like, yeah, just dude, come. I mean, you could just spectate. Just make sure I don't fall. Yeah, here, hold on to this rope. Hold on. I'm just going to climb this pole. All right. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. You just stand there. And you climb it, right? They're gonna, and then you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this, guys. I'm standing on top of this pole. They're gonna be like, get down here, insane. Right? But now you've made something an adventure together with somebody else. You know how much that's gonna inspire them? You know how much that's gonna change the way they think about things? Because they went through the adventure with you. Now, let's say you come back to that pole later. They're gonna look at that pole a little bit differently. They're gonna be like, that's right. My friend climbed that pole. I was there with him. I could probably climb that pole, but I won't. That's a little bit still too scary, but I won't, right? But now at least you got them thinking. You're inspiring them. Now, next step is you're like, hey, don't worry about climbing the pole. We're not going to climb the pole, but I'm going back to that pole because I need to. I just need to. It was so much fun. And you start climbing the pole, and you're like, hey, can you get me that bucket? Because I want to put this bucket up there. Can you hand it to me? And they're like, yeah, but you're way up there. But like, you just climb the pole a little bit and hand it to me. It's cool. And they're like, okay, yeah, I think I can do that. Yeah. Well, I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to look like I can't do this. Right. I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I'm too afraid to climb the pole even a little bit. I can climb a pole a little bit with a bucket. So yeah. And they do a little bit and they're like, oh, here's the pole. You're like, sweet, thanks. They've made a step, right? Little steps, right? Because you're taking them on an adventure along the way, just doing your normal stuff, right? Now, this is a weird example. Of course, it doesn't necessarily apply to your situation, but you get the idea. Obviously, you can't spend a whole lot of time with this person. But when you are, do not spend any of that time working on them unless they ask for it.
Hmm.
When you're with them, spend every bit of your time making the adventure for your own growth. Because that's something that they want to be a part of. If they don't like themselves, they're not going to want to be a part of the adventure that helps them grow. They're going to want to be like, yeah, please don't focus on me. I want to be in the background, hidden. I want to be the guy behind the curtain. Give me, I don't even want to show up. But if you make it like, hey, I've got this thing I want to try to do. Now they're going to want to be a part of it because they like being around you because they're your friend, And they would go out of their way for you. Little do they know that going out of their way for you slowly changes the way they think and the way they are um, moving along in their journey. And the things that you work on for yourself, related or not, are going to inspire them. And they're going to start making actions towards themselves. Let me tell you, one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life was watching Joe and other people who are reading self-help books, like I mentioned earlier, move forward in their lives and watching them take that journey and being a small part of it, being a part of their lives and watching them make those choices and make little changes and like, hey, you know what? We're going to try doing this way. We're going to try doing this way from now on. You know, they're plan, do, check, adjust, plan, do, check, adjust. It's like, hey guys, we've been trying our business this way. The model's not working. Let's do this instead. All right, goals, set them. All right, yeah, we'll write it on a piece of paper. Okay, hit that today. You know, like, oh, let's make 45 phone calls in a day. And it's like, okay, right now that watching that, and then I would get called along to be a part of it. They'd be like, hey, yeah, you should come. And they wouldn't tell me I needed to help. But they said, hey, if you want to, you can make some phone calls yourself. And that way you can start moving your business forward. We're all doing it, you know, with or without you. And I'm like, I just want to be around you guys. You guys are cool. Okay, I'll join in. I'll make some phone calls. I guess it's a little bit crazy. Like, I'm actually, honestly, like, I don't really want to. Why am I doing this? And then next thing I know, I'm making phone calls and I'm like, why am I making, like, this is stupid. I can't believe I'm doing this. But you know what? I was getting out of my comfort zone. I was getting out of my comfort zone, not for myself. I was getting out of my comfort zone because they were all getting out of their comfort zone. And I was inspired to by them. Right.
It's kind of
And
fun.
And it was kind of fun.
Kind
It
of
was
fun
kind
to
of
be
fun.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was like everybody was uncomfortable together and it was fun and we could share the stories. And like when something happened that was successful, like, hey, we booked your plan. It's like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Everyone would get excited together because the energy was there. The excitement was there. The energy was in the room and it all was being made up by the people that were excited about the adventure.
Mhm.
And if you can provide that for other people, you will just witness a mass change in them. And so ultimately, what I'm saying back to the beginning is how are you spending your time with them? The little bit that you have, are you making it about them and their problem of suicidal tendency and depression and all of this, and then trying to see how you can fix it? Because I really don't want you doing that. Be patient with them. They're going to get through it. They're a genius. And I know that because they're a human. And humans are geniuses. And I even pronounced that weird wrong. But anyways, geniuses. All right. That doesn't mean I'm not a genius. All right. Might be a janky genius, but it doesn't matter. She's going to get through it. All you got to do is make the time that you're spending with her worth something. So don't spend it focusing on what's going to change anyways. Don't waste your time because she's going to get through it. And you know what can help her get through it faster? Not focusing on it. Focusing on making the adventure great. Focusing on exciting her about life. Because that's what's going to fuel her fire to change it. Being excited about life. Doing things that make her excited. Rather than sitting there and being like, yeah, you got that problem. Let's see. Have you tried being happier? Okay, you're thinking too many negative thoughts. Stop thinking negative thoughts. Like, don't talk about that stuff. Unless she asks and is really wanting your opinion, don't even bring it up. Because she's going to get through it. It's just going to be a waste of your time. Okay? Especially if she's already seeking help. She's already going the right path. She's looking for ways to help. She just needs encouragement to keep on doing that. She's going to find it. And she will find it sooner or later. So that's, I kind of went on a tangent, but regardless, hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that helps a lot. Helps you figure out the ways to navigate your conversations with her that you do have. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Kendra, I'm reading some of your posts here. I honestly feel like I'm contradicting myself because I don't feel all too confident about myself and depressed, but I'm able to easily help her and act like I don't have problems. I understand her because there was a point in my life where I thought of killing myself, and I want to help her the best I can. That's huge,
Hmm.
because when you can relate like that, that's so helpful, when it's somebody who's been through something similar. Not necessarily, you don't necessarily have to come in and be the teacher, but just like Angel of Music was saying, one of the most helpful things, is having people who genuinely just want to spend time with
Hmm.
them, and that's exactly it. And you're doing such a great job, just because your point of view is correct, because you said, you just talk about normal things, how she's feeling and how her day goes. I just want her to talk to me so that she feels important. That that's a big deal, because then you're doing exactly what Ryan was saying, and you're just being there. You're not trying to point out the problems and trying to fix all the issues. What you're doing is you're you're being there, being together, and it's you're helping her feel important. Some of the times, now this can go good, or not as good. I mean, it's I don't think it's ever been harmful. When I think back of the times that I've tried this and used this, and it's worked really great when it worked, and other times it didn't really impact the situation at all. So, but one thing that you can do is maybe ask, while you're going through this time, you're sitting there, you can ask questions and ask for her expertise on something,
Mm-hmm.
or ask for her help on something that you're challenged with, or something like that, where you're like, hey, you know what, with your background, you probably know a lot about this, and I could use some help in this area. And what that does is, it will, if she's in the right mind frame, she'll be helpful. And what that does is that increases her level of value in herself, because she's
Hmm.
like, you know what? I just helped solve a problem. I just did something good. And that raises her own value in her own eyes. Right. Now, sometimes people are in a situation where it's like, they're just not even going to respond much, and so you'll find out, right as soon as you ask. Because if someone's just tired, if someone's just down and stuff, then they just won't feel like helping. And that's okay. That you've you've found out that where they're at, and that's okay. Um, but that's one thing that I know, for me, when I feel down and sad or depressed, for me to feel like I did something well, for me to feel like I helped out and I did something right, man,
Makes a world of
that
difference.
feeling, it does. It does. It pulls me right up out of the dumps.
Hmm.
And, for me to feel like I helped somebody. So, Kendra
Yeah,
says
it's
her
great, Kendra.
drawings are amazing, especially with people. That's great. And it makes sense. A lot of times, artistic people are tormented souls. It's just kind of the way things are. But Kendra, I'm so proud of you, for you to step outside yourself and you know, take this situation and care and be there for her. That that's so important. And you're going to develop probably a pretty deep friendship here. And that's a good thing. I remember a therapist telling me one time, said, we'd be out of business if people would just listen without judgment, because that's all we do. That's really it. And if you are able to do that with her, that's going to go a long way to
Mhm.
just setting the stage for her to grow through this issue, because you can listen and not judge and just allow her to be her and love her just the way she is. That's a really big deal.
Mhm.
So thank you, Kendra, for being that person, because wow, you are making a difference. It doesn't always feel like it, but you are. So you're awesome.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you so much for this post, Kendra. And yeah, you're awesome. We love you, and we're so happy that you are here on this earth and giving what you can, um, especially to your friend. So
Mhm.
I'm sure they'll come around. Just gotta just be a good support. Again,
Mhm.
if they're asking you, for advice, don't be afraid. Don't avoid it. Be honest and caring and sweet and sincere as possible. But yeah, just like what Joe said, if you can ask them, like put the ball in their court for your own help, that makes them feel like you respect them. They're gonna start to feel better about themselves. And
Mhm.
then also on top of that, they're gonna have done something that they respect and feel good about. So they're gonna start liking themselves more as well. So it's a really good active thing you can think about doing to help them move forward. Um, because yeah, self-respect is a very big deal in this category, and I think that lots of people unfortunately are going through the same thing. I know like countless people who have unfortunately um, parents that aren't as loving as they ought to be, and they don't respect their children, and
Mhm.
so the children don't feel respected,
Mhm.
and because of that, the children don't know how to respect themselves or even respect anybody else. Like I've seen that to that point as well, um, and so it's a really really unfortunate thing. So showing respect can be one of the biggest things. um, I was very luckily respected by my mom. She always trusted me and my brother. She always knew she didn't have to keep an eye on us. She could trust us. She knew we wouldn't, go out and do weird things in the middle of the night, I guess. Right? She respected us and our opinions. She asked us for our thoughts on things. Um, she wanted to know what we liked, what we were into, and things like that. And she used that. Um, to help develop that relationship. So I was very fortunate to have that. Um, but I know that a lot of kids out there don't have that. So to anyone in here who is hoping to be a parent someday, respect your children um, before before anything. Um, you have to love them. Of course, you're going to, but you also have to respect them. I think that's crucial. Otherwise, yeah, yeah, it can be a really unfortunate thing. Depression is pretty common.
Mhm.
So,
Oh my gosh, yes.
yeah.
So thank
Yeah.
you, Kendra, for being that light.
Mhm. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
awesome.
We love you guys. You guys are so cool. We're so happy to be here with you guys. It's so cool to be able to sit here and chill with you guys, chat, um, and and make conversation and talk about deeper subjects and sometimes darker subjects and shed light into them. It's cool. But we're getting to that time where we should shut
Mhm.
it down. I've been recording for 2 hours and 2 minutes, 3 minutes now. Sorry.
Mhm.
Uh, so that means we're definitely at our time. So with
Yeah.
that,
So Angel,
we should
Akil,
cut it
my
down.
Gary, if
Yeah.
you guys all have topics that I really, really, really want to go
Hmm.
over. So please come back next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Please come back next week and present yourselves
Hmm.
as ready and willing subjects to our banter. No,
So-
but because it's coming. No.
yes,
but yeah, no.
yes, I really, really want to go through those. They're
Mhm.
great topics. I was just
Yeah.
looking at them and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah,
those are-
I know. I was thinking the same
I was
thing
like,
when
man,
I
I wish we had
saw
another 2 hours.
when I saw who was the list of who we had, and I'm like, oh sweet, they're here. And then I looked at like what their topics are. I'm like, whoa, yeah, I actually want to do that one. That one sounds like a really good topic.
That makes
So
it
I was
sound like
glad
there
we
are
did.
topics you don't want to
So
handle.
I'm glad we got to do the ones we did today, and I'm excited also for the ones that we get to do in the future. So
We
yeah.
love everybody's topic.
No, we love the people. We don't love the topics. Go. You shut my mouth right now.
Oh wait, that
What is
probably
this?
looks really awful.
Okay, there you go. Do it again, and you can make it a little bit better. Oh. It doesn't line up at all. I'm sure. They're like, why is his hand so long? And then
Like,
they change.
what is this?
That's so bad, guys. It's so cringy. Awesome. Thanks, guys, for being here. We love you. I can't say it enough. It's so cool that we got to do this. It's been a while, so it's a nice refresh. But yeah.
You guys are amazing. Special
Yep, our
thanks,
sponsor-
Jesse, our producer,
Our
and
producer,
Princess,
and yeah.
our chat room hostess. She's
Yep.
awesome.
And you guys, all of you.
Who's our sponsor? This show is brought to you by Static P. Go check out.
Go check out me. Go check out Static
P
P on YouTube,
on YouTube.
and or Spotify,
Yes.
or iTunes.
Anywhere
or-
where you find great music, you will find great Static P music. And go to
If
BSS
I'm not
Studio.
there, it's not great. Ryan's eyebrows. Yes, I'm very expensive. The sponsor is my eyebrows.
Yes.
Nice.
This
They
show is
can-
brought to you by Ryan's Eyebrows. Roll that beautiful eyebrow footage.
Can you? Yeah. Brilliant. I loved it. Awesome. 10 out of 10.
10.
It would be 11 if it was an amp.
Oh man, 11. It would go to
Anyways.
11.
Thanks for this awkward ending. Hope to see you all guys, all you guys next week. And until then, have an incredible life. Be filled with joy and inspiration, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Yes. Love you guys.